guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Grace. I'm a novelist and fiction writing teacher. I share writing tips and strategies on this channel, and a dose of writing inspiration to inspire you to write. Today I'm going to be talking about what I learned about writing in 2020. So 2020 was a year that cannot be forgotten in a hurry. 2020 brought a lot of lessons for me, a lot of lessons in my life and in my writing life. So I just wrote down all the lessons I learned in 2020 down in my notebook. So I'm going to be reading them out in no specific order. So there's so many lessons I learned concerning writing, and I can't possibly film everything in this video because the video will be extremely long. I just gathered the major ones that I will be able to share with you, and they're 19, almost 20. I'll try to cut them down. I don't know. So the first lesson is the first draft to be shit. So this is something that almost every writer knows, and I have known this in the past years, but I had not completed a full book until 2020. Did I say a full book? Sorry, a first draft rather. I completed my first draft of my debut novel in 2020. So that term, your first draft to be shitty, meant so much to me this past year. So you just have to write that first messy shit first draft. Next lesson I learned is accountability is everything. So last year I did an article that had accountability in the outline, basically talking about how it helps you achieve your goal 70%, right? And yes, I have an accountability partner, but I never really understood that term to the fullest until I did NaNoWriMo 2020, and I kid you not, it was so blissful for me. Last year 2020 was the first time I did NaNoWriMo, and oh my gosh, the experience is wholesome. I can't explain it. Like when you have people that you are doing something like a project together, it just gives you this feeling of togetherness. It makes the experience seamless. So there will be potholes, right? But knowing that you have someone to rely on, knowing that you have someone to share ideas with, just makes the process better. Accountability is everything, which leads me to the next lesson, which is writing can be lonely. 2020 put it in my face like, yes, writing can be very, very lonely, extremely lonely. Next lesson is writing is hard. Oh my gosh, writing is hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. Don't let anybody deceive you that writing is easy. If someone tells you writing is easy, tell them to show you their accolades, tell them to show you what they've accomplished so far, because I kid you not, writing is hard. The next lesson is know your creative process is important. So your creative process is what's going to take you from start of your first draft to the ending of your first draft. So many persons don't know their creative processes because they don't write as often as possible. So they write today and then they don't touch their manuscripts for the next 4 months or the next year. And so when you continuously write randomly and whenever inspiration hits you, you do not know exactly what your creative process is. And so you have to learn your creative process and you have to stick with it. You can change it or alter it as you go, but be sure to work with your creative process. Don't imitate the next person. Your writing process is different from the next person's writing process. In 2020 I wrote as often as possible and I was able to learn my creative process. So when next I'm writing another first draft, it will be easier for me to from the beginning of the first draft to the ending, because I have learned and mastered my creative process. So knowing your creative process is important. Next lesson is you can achieve what you believe you deserve. So persons don't believe that they can be bestsellers. So persons don't believe they can be authors, right? So they go on in that spiral like, oh, it's almost impossible, I can't do it, different thoughts. And then because you don't believe you can actually achieve that, you end up not achieving it. So this narrows down to my word count. At the beginning of 2020, I didn't think I could write so many words at the same time, right? I kept myself in this box of writing a particular word count. I was just like learning with that word count. So as 2020 went on and I wrote and I surpassed it, I began to see ahead and I was like, okay, I can achieve more than this, right? When I began to see ahead, I actually start achieving it. So you can achieve what you believe you deserve. It's a mind thing. You cast your mind and your body will follow. The next one is self-care is a necessity for writers. Writers spend so much time obsessing about their books and put self-care on the back bench, and some persons treat self-care as if it's something that's once in a while, or it's something that is a waste of time. But 2020 taught me that self-care is a necessity, not a waste of time, because once you take care of the writer, it's also a process of taking care of your art, which is writing. So self-care is important. Self-doubt and imposter syndrome will come, but do not let it define you. I believe all writers go through the phase of having self-doubt and feeling like fraud. It's just a normal thing. So don't get stuck in a phase where you feel like fraud, and then because you feel that way, you don't move on to like keep working and learning and unlearning. When you feel like fraud, when you feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this, when you feel like I have not earned the right to do this, keep going. It will get better. And self-doubt will hit you on the head. It's going to use your head and play football, but you have to keep going. If for anything, that was one important lesson I learned in 2020 about writing. Do not let self-doubt define you. The next one is you make time for what's important. This doesn't just relate to writing, it relates to every aspect of my life and daily life. So people make time for what's important. Basically, people put things that are important at the top of their list. It's only what's important that's going to be a priority. To be a writer, you have to write actually. And if you want to write continuously and regularly, you have to make writing important. You have to make writing a priority. It has to be something that you put in your schedule. It has to be something you make out time for. So if for anything, I really learned that in 2020. And let me even tell you something that's funny. During lockdown, I did not write. Everything was just tumbling, and I did not write during lockdown. It was after lockdown I started picking up my writing. So people actually make time for what's important. That was a very, very wonderful lesson that 2020 taught me. Next one is something you probably already know. You have to write to be a writer. I'm just going to leave it at that. Shikina. Next one is your why is important. I can't rant too much about this because everybody's why is different. Your why is different from my why. My why is different from the next person's why. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Your why is very important. You have to know exactly why you're writing, exactly why you want to write a book, exactly why you are a writer. Thank you. The next lesson is it's okay to take a break. Whenever I stress myself to like write too much at a particular time, I get burnt out. And when I get burnt out, I can't write for at least 2 weeks. I'm not even joking. I'm so mentally exhausted that the sight of the laptop or my phone or whatever writing material, it's irritating, and I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to sit down to write. I don't want to do anything writing instead for a period of time. So to avoid that, I don't push myself to my breaking point. So it's actually very okay to take a break. If you don't take anything from this video, take that one. It's okay to take a break. Even when you feel like so many persons are ahead of you, they have written 3 books and you have not even done with the first one. I'm not saying you should write once in 2 years. No, I'm not saying that. But when you feel like the words are not coming, take a break. It won't kill you if you take a break and come back to it later. Don't push yourself to your breaking points. Getting burnt it's not good. It's not good for you mentally, it's not good for you physically and otherwise. The next and last important lesson I learned in 2020 is the writer after the first draft is a different person than the writer before the first draft. When I was writing the goals for this video, when I got to the last point, which I'm about to tell you right now, I said this is a quote. A few years from now, they'll be like, da 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 da. Grace Ukeni. Grace Ukeni said that. You know what I'm saying? The writer after the first draft is a different person than the writer before. This is so wholesome because I finished my first draft in 2020, and when I was running up the last chapter, when I wrote the end, I realized that I was a totally different person than when I started. When I started my first draft in January, and when I finished in November 2020, I was a completely different person. So recently I went back to my old articles I wrote in 2019. I was looking at it and I was like, what? So then, when I had written them in 2019, they felt perfect. At that writing level I was at, it was perfect. But in 2020, when I was looking at it, I was like, what's this? You're filled with so many issues, and I have so many articles I have to like rewrite because I've gotten better at writing, so I can see from a different perspective. So I feel like I've learned so much more in the past 2 years. So the writer after the first draft is a different person than the writer before. If you do not take anything from this video, take that one. So these are lessons I learned from writing in 2020. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you took something along too. And even if you didn't learn anything from writing 2020, that's okay. You have a new year to learn so much more in 2021. I hope this video inspires you to keep writing and to keep going after your dreams. So before I go, I just want to say, don't forget to like and share this video. Smash the subscribe button if you have not. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss an update. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.